Hello, everybody. The crazy three-game week continues with championship predictions for round 9. Sam, how are you bearing up? You were covering Sheffield United and Southampton, which is going to bring a public apology later. But welcome. Have you had a good week?
Yeah, really good week. Yeah, I did enjoy that game Tuesday night. Yeah, it was my first real look at both and kind of felt that Southampton have found a little bit of rhythm or maybe look a little bit more comfortable in the system that he stuck with Will Steele. There was, however, a lot of possession without much purpose first half, and then it was kind of Ross Stewart, the catalyst from about half an hour in. He was the difference, and Sheffield United handing them the equaliser. Terrible, terrible goal to give away from the set piece. But yeah, what did I learn? I probably learned that Sheffield United are going to need a bit more time to fix things. Confidence, a little bit fragile. Got to arrest giving away terrible goals. And Southampton, I suppose if they can have a striker firing to add a little bit of gloss to
Did
what
he
looks
start,
like
Stuart?
he started, yeah.
Yeah.
Started the last two. Yeah, I mean, if he's going to fire and he looked confident, maybe that's going to transform their fortunes. And then on to QPR nil, Oxford nil, unfortunately for me, on the sofa with a glass of
Yeah.
wine, which wasn't as thrilling.
I think I've said enough about that game because I did it as a watch along. So we will leave it there. Sam, it was 5-5 in the prediction. So not amazing, but we're getting stitched up with so many draws at the moment. You and I always say when we're doing the predictions, you're like, oh, I've got 4 draws now. I'd better stop there. And we've had like 8 and 7 in the last 2 rounds, which is just insane. But so it's 4-2 to me with 2 draws so far. Get your predictions in the comments.
Just quickly, am I
Yeah,
right
go
in
ahead.
saying there was no home win midweek?
No, you are correct. There was no home
So,
win
I
as
mean,
well.
what chance you got, mate? What chance you got? I don't know what that says about the league. Well, we're going to come on to it maybe, aren't we? About maybe the style of football that we're seeing kind of
Yeah,
across the board.
lots of draws and no home wins makes no sense. But it's the championship, mate, isn't it? Right, let's dive in. And the championship's biggest game to American audiences takes place on Friday night. Sam, it's Wrexham, Birmingham. You're up first.
Whoa. I'm not sure I can remember the one at Wrexham last time out. I remember the Birmingham one because I watched that relatively recently on the one of the old documentaries, which I think Birmingham won, didn't they, narrowly?
They did.
At Wrexham, good draws, I suppose, in the circumstances midweek.
One-one,
Oh,
one-one draw, Sam, on a Thursday night. Rathbone and Dykes in League One
do you
Wrexham
know
Boys.
what? I'm going to go for Wrexham with the home advantage to nick this, and I'm going to go for Wrexham to win maybe late on by 2-1.
Wow. So just quickly before I come in, where are you standing on Birmingham a little bit? I know we'll talk properly in the international break, but I don't know, it feels like a little bit of pressure on Chris Davis, rightly or wrongly, just because of the giant expectations. And, are they or aren't they meeting them at the moment?
Yeah, I think they had far and away probably the most talented squad in League One last season, and the golf in quality was evident from the word go. And I thought that he set them up really intelligently, and they had far too much for that division. But when you make that step, um, it's a more even playing field. And yeah, I don't think maybe they've found kind of the formula at the moment, and he's making quite a few changes in that forward line. I think pretty much last season the 11 almost picked itself. I could probably reel it off, and the little tactical intricacies of the outside right player tucking in and the fullback going round, and they had things that were set in stone. And I think at the moment it's not completely evident what their team's going to look like and who's going to be out there. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think they'll get there. So I'm not overly, worried about their
No.
form. And I think Chris Davis has got enough finance in the bank, money in the bank, whatever the phrase is, to not have any pressure on his shoulders, because I think he's done a very, very good job at a club that have been transformed from being long ball, no connection with the supporters, to a club that all of a sudden is on an upward trajectory with a lot of togetherness. So I think he needs to be cut a little bit of slack.
Agreed. I'm tempted to flip your scoreline and actually back Birmingham to turn it round. But, I mean, we'll talk about the myriad of draws. I think I'm going to take the first one and just play it safe, Sam. I think Wrexham have improved a little bit defensively and are getting towards their, what their first 11's going to be. I think it might be another methodical match in the Championship with not a hell of a lot of shots on goal, which has just been a big pattern. So I'll go Wrexham 1, Birmingham 1. And it's Blackburn versus Stoke. Blackburn are now down in the bottom 3, and we talk about millions of draws in the Championship. The only team without a draw are Blackburn Rovers. I think Stoke will be pleased with the draw they got, 0-0 at Borough. I think they were the better side in the second half from what I've heard. I'm just going to do this. You shouldn't ever do this. Based on the league table, one's third from top, one's third from bottom. I'll take the away win, Sam, and it's Robins. So I'll go 2-1. I'll go both teams to score. You thought I was going to go 1-0 then. I thought I was going to go 1-0. Blackburn 1, Stoke 2, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the narrative, if they lose again, Blackburn, is going to be how, not definitive, but how much
only Sheffield United have lost more games than Rovers, Sam.
How much of an impact did that postponed game have?
Stop it.
No, of course, like on the players' confidence levels, everything, to get a victory over much fancied Ipswich would have been a huge boost to take into the next 2 games, and it's probably doubtful that they would have lost back-to-back games subsequently had they had the boost of that morale boosting victory. So I'm with you here. I'm going to go for Blackburn to continue to struggle as they kind of find their way this season with a very, very new squad. I can see that packed away end being euphoric. I'll go 2-0 Stoke.
I'd miss that, Sam. You're right. Blackburn are the only team who can do a 0.3 game week, and we have both called it. So there will be a public apology to Blackburn if they can do it, but we're both back in Stoke. Sam, it's Hull, Sheffield United, and quick question for you. Has Ollie McBurney now surpassed Sorba Thomas as the best signing from this summer transfer window? And
what a big game for him at the weekend against Sheffield United.
I'm not really with it this morning, am I, mate, with my narrative?
Do you know what? I'm a fan of Ollie McBurney. I wouldn't say, he's a maverick, someone who's going to get you off your seat, but he's technically very efficient. I think he's good on the deck. He's aggressive. He's a physical presence as well, and he finishes with real quality. I like the 2 goals the other day. The second one in particular, the desire for him to get into the 6-yard box when play was developing, I think, down the left-hand side, and he didn't have to break his stride. That's a real desire. Someone who is finding himself on the spot more often than not, and that's not by chance. That's really clever and determined movement. So yeah, I could see him having a say here because he's just so full of goals and confidence at the moment. So I think I'm going to go for the draw again. Sheffield United obviously gave up a lot of the ball against Southampton, and they had their moments. They actually spurned 2 1v1s, O'Hare, Campbell. I say 1v1s, good opportunities on the Southampton goal. So the outcome could have been different. They clearly need to defend better. I mean, a Chris Wilder team conceding the manner of the first goal was very, very odd to see.
Survived a missed pen as well, didn't they?
They did, but it was never a penalty in my opinion. It was Ross Stewart playing the referee there, I think, initiating the contact. So, yeah, Sheffield United are a little fragile. I still feel they need to create more, but I think they'll have enough here to get a point against Hull. So I'll go 1-1.
I'm going to back Sheffield United for no other reason than they always seem to do pretty well at Hull. I know there was that Ruben Sellers win at Bramall Lane and we got all these jokes, didn't we, that Sellers won more times at Bramall Lane against Sheffield United in 2025 than he did as their manager. So I've got to give Hull a goal if McBurney's the hot hand, but I'm going to give Sheffield United the win. I'm going to say a 3-1 away win, Sam. Hull 1, Sheffield United 3. Maybe the biggest story of the round is Coventry City, where they won 4-0 at Millwall. It's Sheffield Wednesday versus Coventry. And the watch-along at the end was very distracted when I was doing QPR by Coventry, and a lot of people... Look, I know it always happens when someone's winning 4-0 away and they're in good form. Everyone's like, oh, Coventry are my tip now. But they're in great form. They're scoring tons and tons of goals, and they've got beleaguered Sheffield Wednesday, who it looks like the EFL are teeing up for a points deduction in the international break from the leakiness that I'm understanding. So I've got to back Coventry again, and I've got to give them goals. I'm going to go 3-0 Cov. Wednesday 0, Coventry 3. It might take them top, depending on what we say for Borough.
Yeah, they were unfortunate though, Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, huge credit to the lads for obviously putting themselves into a leading position and getting pegged back last minute at Birmingham. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think it's best case scenario for Wednesday, a draw, or Coventry win this. I don't see them having enough to beat Coventry in this current guise of theirs. I think it's some going, mate, to score another 3 after beating Birmingham 3-0, beating Millwall 4-0. So I'll go for the narrow victory. And I think maybe Sheffield Wednesday good for a goal, given they're in the games. I'll go 1-2.
We're loving going all in here, Sam. Blackburn are the only team who can do a 0-point week. We've both backed it. Coventry are the only team that can do a 9-point week. We've both backed it. Bristol City versus QPR.
City continue to impress, really. Very difficult to beat, aren't they, Bristol City at the moment?
Yes.
Home to QPR, who had the better chances last night against Oxford, but were on the ropes a little bit in the first half, weren't they? For 20 minutes, I think Oxford started the better side. I was a bit disappointed in QPR's front line, which has obviously been a favourite topic of mine. I think it's a point is a best case scenario here. The luxury for Julien Stéphan is that he made multiple changes last week, 3-game week, and he's got the opportunity to do that, and it didn't significantly weaken the performance. I think good for a point. I'll go for another draw, 3 on the spin, 1-1.
I'm going to back Bristol City. I think you were higher on the QPR performance last night than I perhaps.
Yeah, but I'm coming from a very, very low point, mate. Very low place. Yeah. I'm contrasting it to maybe this time last year.
Right.
And I'm definitely seeing the fruits of labour on the training ground. They look like a better team.
I'm going to go with my gut instinct though, Sam.
You do that, mate. You do what you feel's right. I ain't going to judge you, even in that shirt.
It's a jumper. And it's a beauty, isn't it? It's an absolute beauty, isn't it? By the way, can you remember the amount of stick I used to get for my trousers and my shirts and stuff?
Hey, mate, I'd never...
Jamie Mackey, particularly.
Jamie Mackey on Sky Sports last night.
He used to go in 2-footed on all of my clothes, didn't he, Mackey?
It was a love-in last night. He was on with Neil Warnock on the sofa.
Oh, you don't have to, that's a night off, though. You don't even have to say anything when Warnock's on, do you? Just wind him up and let him go. Anyway, you're distracting me, Sam, from my prediction. I was going to go 1-0 Bristol City. I wonder if the press can shut out King Kone and Dembele and Saito, etc. Up top. So I'll back City to win that one. And that'll be a pretty decent week for Bristol City, won't it? Let's move it on. Derby versus Southampton. So public apology here to Southampton. Sam and I both backed a Sheffield United win there. Are Southampton going to get going here? No, they're not, Sam. They're going to get Eusted. And it's going to be 0-0.
I don't mind. I don't mind the draw here. There's something like inside me. I don't want to sit on the fence. Yeah, Derby.
Mate, there's been 13 draws in 2 rounds,
Yeah.
or 14, whatever it is. 15.
Do you know what? I'll do it then. But I'll go for a bit more entertaining. I think maybe Ross Stewart off the leash now. Yeah, I'm not fully convinced by them. I thought, again, defensively, they got opened up a few times. I didn't mind the system. I think if he sticks with that and works with it, and he can maybe,
he will.
Rotate 1 or 2, introduce maybe a couple of players. Fellows was an interesting one. I haven't done the reading, sorry, but he was brilliant for 45 minutes. Brilliant. Okay. And then he took him off at half time and replaced him with Ryan Fraser, who's obviously
some physio has probably given him some data or something.
Yeah, it was odd, but obviously they won the game, so all was well at the end. I'll go for a 2-2 here. I'll go for Ross Stewart to be on the score sheet again, but for Derby to be good enough to get a point.
Brilliant. Millwall versus West Brom. So West Brom winning away in midweek. Millwall losing at home. Simple.
Yeah, that's difficult, isn't it? Really difficult. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I've had a text message from my uncle who goes to Millwall this morning saying, didn't sound like QPR Oxford was a thriller, but at least you weren't at the Den. So I'll have to get the debrief from him. Millwall, West Brom, low scoring. I think, West Brom, are, they've got some talented forward players, but I think still the structure of their side is going to be their strength in the infancy of Ryan Mason's tenure. I quite like a draw again. No, I'll go for... Did Millwall lose the previous game?
No, they drew, as everybody. They drew 1-1 at Swansea. They could have lost. They nicked a set play.
1-1 at Swansea, right. I'll go for a distinctly average week to get worse. I'll go for a 1-0 West Brom away win, 2 in a week.
Okay, I'll take the draw then, and assume that West Brom are going to be... no, they're not going to be happy, are they? Because they lost... No, they've got a draw and a win. Sorry, things are moving fast. I think they'll be happy to go unbeaten. So I'm going to take a 1-1 in this, and Millwall are just going to have to give the natives something a bit better than a 4-0 home defeat. So let's assume that happens. It is Pompey versus Middlesbrough. I think Pompey played quite well and just had a bit of a lapse in concentration for that to flip around last night, 1-1 to 2-1. Got back in it at the end. So I think, I'm sure you'll do some digging on this before the weekend. I think your boys down at Pompey will be happy enough with the performance and just not with the result, Sam. But Middlesbrough... They're very, very draw heavy. And this is the point where I'm going to beat myself up for calling too many draws. It's a rarity. I will predict a Pompey home defeat here. And I will back Borough. But this is a pure momentum pick, basically. I don't think there'll be much in it. And I think Middlesbrough will just kind of come out of it with a win somehow. So I will take a 2-1 win to Borough and for them to stay top for international break.
Yeah, I think I'm probably with you, although it looked like Portsmouth should have been further ahead at half-time. Looked like
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Very well for 45 minutes and then obviously got done in a really disappointing start to the second half. I think it was 30 seconds in, Loser gets the equaliser. Watford obviously looked much improved after the break and Portsmouth salvaged something. So I think your sentiment was spot on there. I think pleased with the performance, but not pleased how they... went from being coasting to all of a sudden having to scramble for something. I think Borough maybe be too strong here. Maybe after the efforts of that on Wednesday night, I'll go 0-1.
It's Preston versus Charlton. The Thierry Small, Patrick Bauer derby.
I'm so tempted by the goalless draw here.
Of course you are.
Goalless draw. Do you know what? I'll have Charlton to have a rare off day in front of goal. God, that was a nice goal from James Bree, wasn't it?
Oh, it's beauty, wasn't it? Yeah.
Beauty. Yeah, that was so
Who
lovely.
laid that on? Doherty, was it?
Can't remember, but I mean,
Yeah,
it was
it's a
some strike.
beautiful assist, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to go for, I think it's 0-0 here, or I think it's a narrow 1-0 either way. So I'm going to go 1-0 Preston.
Well, go on then. I feel like that Eddie Hearn meme. Oh, go on then. I'll take the 0-0 then, Sam. And yeah, for this just to be an absolute fight to the death. The penultimate episode of a season of Game of Thrones where you get the big battle. This would be like that. Muck and bullets. I'll take the 0-0. Swansea versus Leicester. I've got a fancy for Swansea in this one, Sam. What about Franco's goal as well at Blackburn?
Lovely.
He took that beautifully, didn't he? And you always point out Cullen's finishing, and we've been high on Vipotnik and Ronald, and Alan Sheehan's doing a good job, and Party Marty 4 draws in a row, although he thinks they should have got 3 points against Wrexham. I'm going to back Swansea. You're not going to stop me either, are you? I'll take a 1-0 Swans. Oh no, Leicester got a load of quality. Sorry, I'm going back on that. I'm going to take a 2-1 Swans.
Well, here's a line for you.
Go on.
The aforementioned Franco and Cullen goals. The first goal Swansea have scored, where the name up in lights hasn't been Ronald or Vipotnik.
Right, yeah.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, they've only had 4 goal scorers now in the league.
Okay.
Ronald and Vipotnik had all of them until that point. Yeah, I'll flip it then. I don't think Leicester are looking the finished article by any stretch. Where are they? They're still up in 6th. They've had a relatively strong start to the season.
4 draws back to back.
Yeah, I mean Swansea continue to impress. I didn't have them 8th. Again, them and Preston are the 2 teams that I felt this season was going to be a struggle. So huge credit to them, but I'll just go for the power of Leicester to find something here. 2-1 away win.
Watford versus Oxford, Sam.
Well, I think Oxford are probably looking a better oiled machine right now. I think machine's probably not the right word because they're down the foot of the table, but I think they have a game plan. They have obviously continuity in the manager, and I think they're better with the ball than they were previously last season. But they're not going to score many. And Watford, you just don't know what you're going to get. I'm going to go for another draw, I'm afraid, and I make no apology for it. I've not had any team scoring 3 goals yet. It's not going to be a 3-3. It's going to be a 2-2 at Vicarage Road.
Very toxic as well. Iran Kunda, who we've enjoyed, got pulled off after 35 minutes in that one. And it feels like neither the fans or the players are having Mr. Petzolano. So watch that space with Pozzo's and international break coming. But they've been surprising us with results, Sam. It's been like, oh, he's one really naff result away from big problems. And then they keep coming back in games, don't they? Maybe Gary is the wrong opponent and they will lose this one. But I just think they've got... And Loser's playing well. You've always bigged up Loser, haven't you? He's actually... seems to be
nice player.
together.
Very nice player.
Yeah. Do you know what? So I'm going to take Watford. Maybe Oxford will take the lead. And I'll take Watford 2-1. I, like you, am struggling with goals in this one. And we haven't mentioned it for the whole show. Game number 12. My least favourite game in football, but could be my most favourite game, is Ipswich versus Norwich. Oh my God, Sam. I mean, you've played in this game, but this is absolutely brutal, isn't it? On another platform, I went for a high-scoring Ipswich narrow win, which would have got me a bonus point. So I'm obviously going to change my mind now, being there's been another 1,000 draws in the Championship. I've never done this since I've been a YouTube. I'm going to back Ipswich to win the East Anglian Derby. And the only thing that will guarantee Ipswich win the East Anglian Derby is they have to keep a clean sheet. I think you have to go back 1998 possibly is the last time Norwich didn't score at Portman Road.
Wow.
And the anxiety and all of that nonsense in the stadium gets amped up. Ipswich 1, Norwich 0. Go on. Come at me in the comments. Go on, Sam. Double me up.
Do you know what, mate? This is the clearest I feel on any game here.
This is concerning.
I just, as we sit here right now, Thursday morning, I can't see Norwich winning this game. I'm going to go for Ipswich. And I'm going to go for Ipswich comfortably to win 2-0 and it not be much of a contest. I think that's where I am right now. And yeah, it's a derby and it could very well be a completely different game to what I'm foreseeing. But at the moment, I think, take the derby out of it, look at the two teams, look at the squads, look at the way they're playing. I'm not saying that Ipswich have been brilliant, but they've won the last 2 home games. Correct me if I'm wrong. Starting to get it together at Portman Road at least. 2-0. Job done. Can they be better at Carrow Road in a few months' time?
My God. Sam's like, Ben always interrupts me, but I tried my best to say absolutely nothing while you were speaking there, Sam. Right, that is your round 9 predictions. Thank you for bearing with us this week. Just quickly, Sam, how was Oasis on Sunday night? Did you Poznan to cigarettes and alcohol?
Indeed, we did. I think it was only for about
standing or seated?
We were standing. We're about halfway line, which was
nice.
Which was nice. No, it was really good. No, I was glad. It's just so nostalgic. I think for anyone of our age, and
he's singing great as well, isn't he, Liam?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It was just an amazing show. I'm not a massive gig goer. I did go to Oasis back in the day at the old Wembley, so I got previous with them. And I think my other half's a massive indie fan and goes to a lot of gigs and festivals and that. So it was lovely to do it with her. The whole show, all the graphics and the artwork, along with obviously the bangers. And Liam was terrific. I loved his jacket as well. I'm going to try and see where his jacket was from.
There you go.
So it was class. Yeah, really good. Really good.
Brilliant.
Glad that we eventually found a way to get there because it was looking doubtful until the last knock-ins. There you go, a little bit of football terminology to get in there.
I'm just imagining now, just like a regular conversation with Louise at the kitchen table, and you're using a football terminology for.
I don't need to, mate. I've just got my 2 lads running around in football kits, going, "Go on!" It's very loud in my household at the moment, but I'm to blame for it.
Absolutely tremendous. Sam, great to have you back. We missed you on Monday. You will get full-on championship check-in podcast. We might leave it till sort of the middle of the week, but we'll get Sam to give a big reflection on rounds sort of 5 to rounds 9 in this most recent chunk of games. Thank you all for your support. Get your predictions in the comments. Thumbs up, like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Enjoy the weekend. And if you can, enjoy the East Anglian derby.